That's then yang samba changju to keba ngundan do kone sambrashu.
So, before listening to the teachings tonight, please give rise to the supreme and vast motivation of bodhicitta.
That's then tatare kashi sambrashu choje rambate. Tega sanganza kasangomane nganza shu shimba da tsidu sandeke kone matis shuge.
The topic of the teaching is continuing on from the previous time, going through this commentary on the 7-line prayer.
Datele digi tada japshi dongsi rinpoche kinze shasho digi nanglo la tene zo di chi sondeb ki tsultu tene chitar solan debi tsultang nangdar tene rangjung nangdar na rangjung ki shela uyin chenpe sangsin tsoksul sumne tene nyi yubi nana ta kasanguma nganzu chitar tata sondeb ki rinpati nganzu shu chubare dirisha rangi kalore rangi rikpa nilu rangjungi nangtar rangjungi yeshela uyen chebe sangsang zoksu ta wala chana rangsam gurumpucha kande ime lamna tiksar.
So in this commentary composed by Dongse Chinle Norbu Rinpoche, there are primarily two sections. The first of these is how to practice this in an outer way as a prayer. And the second of them is the way in which all of the qualities of Guru Rinpoche's 3 secrets are contained within Rigpa, the self-occurring nature of phenomena. So of these two, we've completed the first section, the outer method of practice through prayer, and are on the second one.
Tene jivu tandam kordun zo she sungte total yongchuk zoba chimbu gompa landawa nis.
So in the text, we're now on page 148, where it says, "Then the result of 7 absolute treasures is perfected. As said, one should be determined to arrive at the wisdom of the great perfection, which is free from elaboration and fully accomplished. So before this quote, the result of 7 absolute treasures is perfected. Earlier in the text is described how in the context of samsara, which is here referred to as the basis, all sentient beings have the collection of 7 consciousnesses as the basis. And at the time of the path, there are the 7 branches of enlightenment. So then here, when it says the result of 7 absolute treasures is perfected, it's referring to the context of the result, the fruition.
rangi rikpa nilu rangjungi yishi sanji kungi tu yimba la yimbra nambi chunyi ji rangda hongi tokchang de da hong shewa degi.
As said, one should be determined to arrive at the wisdom of the great perfection, which is free from elaboration and fully accomplished. The source of all qualities of samsara and enlightenment is one's own awareness mind, which is the state of the unconditioned nature of self-occurring wisdom and the wisdom mind of all Buddhas. In order to have confidence in this being just as it is, there is the self-sounding of Dharmata, the syllable Hong, which begins the prayer. So here what's being emphasized is the way in which Guru Rinpoche's 3 secrets are perfectly complete and contained within our own self-occurring wisdom awareness. In general, the syllable Hong is a syllable for invoking the blessings of wisdom mind.
Nilu rangjungi yishi sanji kungi tu yimba la yimbara ngambi chuni kirangda sinta yang ransu ki rikpa di yene gurumbuche ki tu yimba la yimbara shewa yimbara shewe tone da hong sene kulsonwa.
And the meaning is similar here in that it says the source of all qualities of samsara and enlightenment is one's own awareness mind, which is the state of the unconditioned nature of self-occurring wisdom and the wisdom mind of all Buddhas. In order to have confidence in this being just as it is, there is the self-sounding of Dharmata, the syllable Hung. So through the recitation of Hung, based on knowing and understanding that one's own wisdom awareness mind is inseparable from Guru Rinpoche's wisdom mind, one invokes that wisdom mind.
Nangdun je kaso sanga same chöjo binne ujinji yulte teni rangi semye yin zonda ujin yuji seade rangi nyungmeke semla kokoya.
In the inner meaning of the 7-line prayer, the country of Odiyana, which is the source of profound secret mantra teachings, is the pure nature of one's mind. So here, the country of Odiyana is understood to be to have the meaning of the continuous pure wisdom mind.
Ta ujinji yulte seade ngazo namji sanga ki chö sanga ki jude jamsa to
and normally, the country of Oriana is talked about as the source of the oceanic tantras of the secret mantra teachings, right? And so, in a similar manner, here what it's revealing is that the country of Odiyana is is representative of one's own continuous natural wisdom mind. And why is this parallel being drawn? It's because, as is said right above that, the source of all qualities of samsara and enlightenment is one's own awareness mind, which is the state of the unconditioned nature of self-occurring wisdom. So because the nature of mind is the origin of all samsara and enlightenment, that all samsara phenomena and all the phenomena of enlightenment ultimately come back to the nature of mind as their source. This is identified as the source. The great Mahasiddha Saraha said that this nature of mind is the sole seed of everything. It is from it that all phenomena of samsara and enlightenment manifest. I prostrate to this wish-fulfilling nature of mind which grants all desires. So here, in a similar way, the country of Odiyana should be understood to mean one's nature of mind. The meaning of the term northwest is that Nup, or west, is the dualistic phenomena of the suffering of samsara, which is purified in Jang, or north, the expanse of the soul oneness of the non-dual great exaltation of Dharmakaya, And there's a note in the English translation that's on page 181 that says that nu means west, but it also means dissolving or sinking, and it refers to samsara. Jang means north as well as purified. It refers to enlightenment, which is the purification of all samsaric phenomena.
Then 참 셰바 콘데니 기타라 미네바데 이범 체제 무수 참 셰바 메메 타달라 우미 남서와 지노 송바타로스.
The meaning of tsam, or border, is not remaining in the limitations of either samsara or enlightenment. As Mipam Rinpoche said, there is no actual border. It is like the expression, the middle way for freedom from limitations.
semni ki ngo kada tongban la khonde ki kyoyen kange kya mago pa chidar peman dam le kya kya dam je mago ba ji seme towa tam je yene namrata pa to je yu chu ji yin dang ta pema se adi do din yu chu ji yin la ko ko gre es na sare.
Soul mind, whose essence is beginningless purity, is not stained by any of the qualities or faults of samsara and enlightenment, which is like a pima, a lotus blooming from mud, yet unstained by mud. All elaboration of reality is purified from the beginningless beginning, which is the object of realization, dharmadhatu. So in brief, pema should be understood to be referring to the object, dharmadhatu.
Tachugi in the Treva Tamje Nyawar Shivi Ranshin Chenchi Res.
And dharmadhatu by nature has completely pacified all elaborations and harm.
Ani Teta Vigi Treva Tamje Nyawar Shivi Ranshin Chenti. And
because all elaborations are so thoroughly purified, it is never stained by any of the faults of samsara whatsoever.
Yes. That tini tokche lulu rangu salve rikpa yeshi samje mecha pa rang salvala kesar je champate yuchen rikpa dorje kesar she chawa degi tene yuchen rikpa champare.
The one who realizes this is self-accomplished, naturally luminous awareness mind, with the inconceivable wisdom of self-clarity, which is represented by the term Gezar, the pollen heart. This is the subject, Vajra awareness mind. So the meaning of the term Gezar here in the prayer is that it is the subject, which means it is awareness, Rigpa.
Tini tauche sonde kasu yul chuki yin trewa tamja dan trawe raji ta te token te sumres.
So when talking about the subject and object in this context, the object is dharmadhatu, that is completely free from all elaboration, which is what should be realized. And the subject, the one who realizes that, is awareness, wisdom.
Then yudang yuchen yermi chepa ishi nyamba nyini peme mendo tan kesar kasa peme mendo tan sindru ni zongzhel tan zimba dongbu tawo yinpe dongbu.
The indivisibility of the subject and object, soul, evenness, wisdom, is like dongpo, or a stem, holding the lotus flower and the pollen together.
Nachir yudang yuchi kasa yul chuki ingda yuchen rikpi yishe seya tingi pema zepi 카카든데 가야 말 개발체 믹스에 요 말했어.
So here in talking about the subject of wisdom awareness and the object to be realized of Dharma Dhatu free from elaboration, it's not that there's two completely different and distinct things.
that's the thing with the yudan yujin irmichepa nyambanini sunu ishi yudan yujin irmichepa ishi nyambanini sunu ta yudan di yuchugi yuna yujin ripi ishi ni irmeba tamedeba te sunu sare.
So when it says the indivisibility of the subject and object, soul, evenness, wisdom, it's indicating the indivisibility of Dharma Dhatu free from elaborations and the wisdom of awareness.
Tandine dongbuda dongbudi sindru dang mendo nicha gi zawajo simgen yinde kasudine di dongbo sungla ta dandina ta yuyujin irmichi bitla ko sungin sare.
So just as the stem is the root or origin of both the lotus flower and the pollen, and is that which holds them together, in the same way in the dongpo and the prayer indicates the indivisibility of the subject and object.
Dune yingda yihi zongju rangjung dewa chenpo yihi ni salve sem shechate yadongpa les.
Stainless space and wisdom are beginninglessly in non-dual union. The wisdom of self-occurring great exaltation is called the mind of clear light, as said in the Sutra of 8,000 stanzas.
Yadongpa le karasung yorisana semla semma chete sem jirang jini salva o she sungsos.
And what it says in that sutra is that the mind has no mind, because the mind's nature is clear light.
Salvi rikpa rangjungi hitini ninzingi kyungi malepe sangyete tati rikpa rangjungi rikpa ninzingi kyungi malepe di sangyere sung.
This clear light awareness mind, self-occurring wisdom, is not stained by faults of duality, so it is Buddha. So what this is saying is that because it's not stained by any kind of fault or flaw, self-occurring wisdom awareness is enlightenment, it is Buddha.
Loban chambima lamitre nishu chi chima sangji ime chi hijebe sangye so she sumbataros.
Great Master Vimalamitra said, all stains of duality are cleansed, and all non-dual wisdom is expanded. Therefore, it is called Buddha.
Yes. Ripa rangjungi hitini choju tuji gyarwa tamji troshi kusumji dani yinpe chogu ngudu zongju doji chang chenpe kopang la tene nga nyewe yanzen chogu ngudu nye shebate.
As it is said, since awareness mind, self-occurring wisdom, which is the self-nature of the three kayas, is the basis of manifestations of all Buddhas of the 10 directions and 4 times, it is in the attainment of the supreme siddhi of the state of non-dual union of great Vajradhara, so Yatsen Choki Ngodrup Nye, the wondrous supreme accomplishment has been attained.
Tatara rikpa kusum lundrupki dani tela rangjung tuangi pema shesung shings.
This awareness mind, the holder of the self-accomplished 3 kayas, is called the naturally occurring ultimate pema or lotus.
Rikpa kusum ki dani yimbate ta tuangi pema jungde re sungde. Twenji Pemanjune. Twenji Pemasa, the Pemanjune sentence.
So here it's referring to the way in which within the basis of awareness, the three kayas are perfect and complete, and that this is the ultimate lotus or the ultimate lotus-born Padmasambhava. It's the same as saying that the nature of the mind is Padmakara.
Lam drupi du sangi tamche lam drupi du sangi tamche jungi nekya chuni tima mebe nilu te imbe na jungne shesu traso hosta jungne seya taya te sangi tamche jungne.
This unconditioned nature of stainless dharmata is also the source of all Buddhas, which is the result of having practiced the path. So Jungne Shesundra. So Jungne in Tibetan, just as the translators note, it means source or origin. So this sentence is explaining the meaning of what Jungne, source, means in this case.
Shi nekamna tene rasa ngazagi sangji kari dhruva inna yanta shila lunji trupi tsuji yore sungu yorwa. Chidanga nangzo sangji kandeshi dhruva inna tamje shila lunji trupi tsuji yore sungu yore.
So for all of us, whatever, within the basis, whichever Buddha we are practicing to accomplish, that Buddha or that enlightenment is spontaneously present within the basis. That's what is taught, that all the qualities of Buddha, whatever Buddha, are spontaneously present within the basis.
This Shi Sangyeti, then Shal Chakin number chain, Shaldan Chakin number chain, then Takalore, Ten Kalota.
But this Buddha that is present within the basis does not have the aspects of face and arms and so forth. And likewise, there's also no name for it.
Delata Shi Sangi. Tanganzo Lam Drew on the capsule, Tene Ganzuki, Tene Shaldan, Chardan, Ten, the number not all the Tene, Younger to Changmaya, Shila, Korala Matrunaya, Tene Shi Nekamna, Tene Shaldan, Chardan, Ten, Kaya Roala, Char Chocho, Chashiki to show yourself.
But then when practicing on the path, even though the various aspects of face and arms and different names and so forth do not exist within the basis, we employ all those different appearing aspects while on the path because that basis has the quality of being able to give rise to everything and being the basis for the arising of anything. So that's why here it's saying this unconditioned nature of stainless dharmata is also the source of all Buddhas, which is the result of having practiced the path. And then here there's the appearance of the form of the lotus-born of Guru Rinpoche, and he's renowned with the name of the lotus-born.
kundu zangbute ngeba tengi sangi pemanjungne rangjungi yishi sishi kunchim yishi sabami vendewa chimbo dan tamba uma chimbo chage chimbo labo chimbo nasoba tsengi namna samjime chabe tembe gonne tenla pabe tartuki ten dikuna nyitu songso she songso sa.
There are different names for this, such as Kunduzangpo, the ultimate Buddha Pemanjungne, self-occurring wisdom, the all-pervading wisdom of samsara and enlightenment, flawless great exaltation, ultimate truth, the great Majjhamaka, the great Mahamudra, the great perfection, and inconceivably countless other names. The ultimate meaning established through these names is said to be this alone, the unconditioned nature of stainless dharmata. Thus it is said.
Yes. Chun temamebe kala rikpa yihigi zal samjimi kyatpa tokma mebar chowa landro dar jubade korto pao dang kandro mamangbe korwa tat di las korwa os.
In the sky of stainless Dharmadhatu, the manifestations of awareness wisdom emanate inconceivably and unobstructedly. The term Trowa, emanate, refers to Drowa, meaning going, and so Koru Kandro Mambo Kor, surrounded by a retinue of many dakas and dakinis.
That's the kandro gute mambo she sadandi kapsodi kandro she chawde nganzo chugi ingi kala rikpe yihin rowa he chawege tanya che shagere.
In general, there's many ways of understanding the meaning of dakini, but here it means the movement of wisdom within the sky of Dharmadhatu.
Yes. Tinde kasu ta tenjeki korto paodang kandro mamangbe korwa tinde yin sunasare.
So he's understood to be surrounded by many dakas and dakinis with that meaning.
Ngeba tenjin do de dang kasa ngedin jin do de dang sami gyudin namji tenden tatu nime zungju ku yishi chembe nelu tela tesum da trabe yichi yebani kiki jeso dautupji jeso sa.
The ultimate revealed meaning of the sutras of absolute certainty and the profound tantras is the unconditioned nature of the non-dual union of great wisdom, and believing in this without any doubt is called Keki Jesu Daudrupki, following you to be like you.
Naransolata Tijeki Rangjunga Rikpala, then Karsavare Tijeki Yondin Yopala Yopara Sheva Yichen Yepa, that delatene Kiki Jesu Daudrupki, so the Hesum.
So for us, this means knowing and having absolute certainty in the qualities of self-occurring wisdom awareness.
Teacher Kanang Ishiji Kolor Chinjilo Chir Rangi Simji Chungi Teta Yimbala Yimbala Yintoto Shape Lame Menga Topper Chapala Shakes Sol Shesum Des.
Therefore, Jingi Lobche, in order to bless whatever appears as the mandala of wisdom, and to realize the pure nature of one's mind by abiding in this nature just as it is, with the help of the Lama's Upadesha, Sheksu So, I pray you will come.
Namdale Shepa Topitanjin Yin Jesung So.
According to the commentary on logic by Dharmakirti, Shekpa means to realize.
Danding Ranzalata tangine rangi rikpati Rinpoche tang ta kalora teki riksal pao khandro number charte bati yimbala yimbro ngwasheba sora oda tindre ki tan la kogre esumsar ningon to churwa.
So to hear this means that we recognize and actualize our own wisdom awareness inseparable from Guru Rinpoche and surrounded by the manifestations of all the dhakas and dakinis as was just described, and we recognize that just as it is.
Guru Pema Siti Hong Sendro Tadine Kornde Ki Kyoyen Kangi Kyang Leto Mitope Tonyi Dorje Chujuku Ten Benzar Ngo Tongba Chujuku Yi Rangdang Sam Rangnang Hindu Nambar Takwa Gyalwa Rina Koran Driwi Semba Sema Dang Chewa Tapchik Tu Tuishi Nyamba Niji Insum Dandame Bro Shukshin kundu zangbo yinba, nismeba yinba, te yinba sumje gongba le miyewa, zokwa chenpe chugye korlo la takpara longche zobe, kudan shinkam namki yingi talewara ngawang jirwa, lama te guru usta, guru siya tiki tonda te. Te yin suna zara.
So in the prayer it says, I pray you will come, and then Guru Pema Siddhi Hong is the final line, so it will explain that now. All faults and qualities of samsara and enlightenment can never affect the Vajra emptiness of Dharmakaya. So that is Vajra, the self-radiance or self-appearance of Dharmakaya, whose essence is emptiness, is the extremely pure 5 Buddha families, who, together with the retinues of fully enlightened male and female bodhisattvas, abide in the expanse of the 4th time of great equanimity, free from gathering and separation, never wavering from being kuntuzongmo, and being inseparable, which are the 3 wisdoms of being, always enjoying the continuity of Dzogpa teachings, and holding the power of Sambhogakaya wisdom, bodies, and pure lands as pervasive as sky is the Lama or Guru. So that is all to explain the meaning of Guru here.
Yes. Tete uchugu tongpa niji yihe tang, ranjin, longu ranjin sawe kudang, yihe irme tuje tsal mangakpa rozal, peme damdu kejang, peme time magaw tsangwara sheba jindo, Sangye Tulku Thadral Chuku Tang Tame Tepa Tuje Nyamba Nito Pongyuru Mepara Shukwe Rangona Tate To Kyurwe Durja Tang Durja Nisu Matupchi Shengor Korwa Matong Parto Korwa Na Chuta Drawa Namla Sidi Te Chokten Jungudu Batsol Magawara Tsarwa Tela Tete Udu Hongshe
The empty essence wisdom of Dharmakaya, inseparable with naturally luminous Sambhogakaya bodies and wisdom, is an unceasing manifestation of compassion, like a pema or lotus flower, stainlessly blooming, born from the mud but without the stain of mud, which is Nirmanakaya Buddha, whose wisdom mind is not separate from Dharmakaya, and who abides unchangingly in the 4th time of great equanimity. Therefore, in the self-phenomena of Nirmanakaya Buddhas, there is no separate duality of an object to be tamed and a subject who tames. According to being's phenomena, Nirmanakaya Buddhas abide until samsara becomes empty, effortlessly granting supreme and common siddhis to beings. These are gathered by the syllable hum.
Malas. Tade di dine kantar Guru Pema Siddhi Hong Shechawa Tiki Tondar Dwa Ta Tayang Dordina Ta Sangye Tamchi Ki Kusung Tuksanayanda Sangye Tamchi Karsata Chuku 롱고 주국 상계 삼지메 잡아 선한다 대다 탐지게다 모두 슈위 된다 되네 모두 쇼아 모두 가서래 모두 되위 된다 되네 그래서 그래서 그룹에 마스디 홍시 자와 저다 저자디 된지실마 뒤나인서.
In a brief way, the meaning of all of this is that by saying Guru Pema Siddhi Hong, one is requesting and gathering the siddhis of all Buddhas, whether it's understood as all the Buddha's wisdom body, wisdom speech, and wisdom mind, or all the inconceivable Buddhas of the three Kayas, all of their siddhis are being requested and gathered by reciting Guru Pema Siddhi Hong.
Nonetheless, adi igranzada tetar champadang sheshinbi chanang nyumi shiki gyun zimba mepra kyangbe sonta tetar champadang tetar sheshinbi zata gongdu songa ki ten champadang sheshinbi ki nane chanang nyumi shiki gyun zimba mepra kyangbe yes that's that.
Here again, the order of the Tibetan and the English is a little bit different. So in English, we'll then jump to the bottom of page 159. In this way, if one sustains the continuity of unending wisdom with mindfulness and alertness, so here it's saying one needs to maintain a mindfulness and alertness regarding the meaning of what was just discussed. If one maintains that mindfulness and alertness without grasping,
Dijin sheba tamjeki kui kudang, kui sundang, kui tudang, kui yonde, kui chenlete nga sungi kudang, sungi sundang, sungi tudang, sungi yonde, sungi chenlete nga tuji kudang, tuji sundang, tuji yonde, tuji chenlete nga kui yondengi kudang, yondengi sundang, yondengi tudang, yondengi chenlete nga 칠레기 고나 칠레기 손나 칠레기 도나 칠레기 윤된다 칠레기 칠레데 나체 자위 예시 지위춘이 시장하다 사대가서 지위네 감나 지위춘이 시장하 시야셔 어디 당선서
and is aware of the meaning of all the Buddha's wisdom body of body, wisdom speech of body, wisdom mind of body, wisdom qualities of body, wisdom activity of body, wisdom body of speech, wisdom speech of speech, wisdom mind of speech, wisdom qualities of speech, wisdom activity of speech, wisdom body of mind, wisdom speech of mind, wisdom mind of mind, wisdom qualities of mind, wisdom activity of mind, wisdom body of quality, wisdom speech of quality, wisdom mind of quality, wisdom quality of quality, wisdom activity of quality, wisdom body of activity, wisdom speech of activity, wisdom mind of activity, wisdom quality of activity, and wisdom activity of activity, which are the 25 main qualities of the result. So within the result, there are these 5 sets of 5 to make 25 qualities.
다 대다래 자와도 저샤네 대다래 남게 인탈레버 군의 시지 신감 맞아 예서서 초와데 대다베데 담바이나 되네 다 가서 그래 뉴메강라 냠버 샤과레라는 되게메로.
Then with these as the basis, wisdom bodies and pure lands as pervasive as the sky emanate from these qualities which are beginninglessly perfected without having to search for them. So with mindfulness of the meaning of this, one can say, it's probably okay to say one rests in the unending nature of wisdom.
la nyambra tende ki jindo tene tenpa inna ta ten la nyambra shakpa inna tene rinzin jawa garab dorshi dene takwa ingi nga nila rikpa tolje kichik tenpa te jansyo tenne nuru nyawa sui jang machi chu ku she songte.
So then if one has mindfulness of that and rests in evenness in that nature, it's then, as the king of Vidyadhara's Gaurav Dorje said, from the pure space of original purity, wisdom mind instantly manifests. Like a jewel discovered in the depths of the ocean, Dharmakaya is uncreated and uncontrived by anyone. So if we're able to sustain the mindfulness of the meaning of that and rest in evenness within it, then we'll be able to rest in the evenness of Rigpa or Dharmakaya, which is the actual Buddha.
Yes.
And here he's really teaching about the way of sustaining evenness or meditation according to the teachings and practice of Trekchö.
먼저 가서 그래 곰 껬빈내가다 냠샤로 슈빈내가나 되네 남도지 내나 내방 모신고 그래 토나 초와 모신고 그래 송기여was.
It says that from the pure space of original purity, wisdom mind instantly manifests. And typically when sustaining meditation or resting in evenness, it's taught to identify the state of rest and identify the state of non-rest, right? But the one who recognizes those two is called awareness, Rigpa. So when one recognizes abiding and not abiding or manifestation, the one who recognizes that is Rigpa, is awareness. And so here in the next two lines, most likely it's being referred to really a good practitioner who can sustain that well. It says, like a jewel discovered in the depths of the ocean, Dharmakaya is uncreated and uncontrived by anyone.
di gomga trox ro da ta tenzo katsu namdo ma sha sona ta sam je gi chugu gi zal zo ro gi yasar den de ne de ba ya ko yin so gi yasar.
So this is really for truly good practitioners with very good meditation, that any kind of concept, any kind of thought that arises, all of them turn into supports for their practice of meditation, because they're recognized as being the completion of the manifestation of Dharmakaya, so they support their practice in that way.
남도 탐제 남도 샤돌 tango 그랬어 샤돌 어디다 남도 샤르바당 샤르바 모션이 졸신 거거든 어디 남도 샤돌 당 샤바이나 되는 디네시원나 신기 디차게서
It's taught that in meditation we need to know how to let thoughts arise and be liberated, so that if we can allow those to happen simultaneously, then we can have this kind of result.
근데 셰송데 해송으로 내가 저가서 디나를 찍어와 버르름 붙이기 남도 강샤 추기 세세하시.
There's something that Tulku Rinpoche said, that whatever concepts arise, they become food for Dharmakaya.
Hada diga gomba dinama tarung chayangwa 셰송데스 done tawa ingi nelu tuyusum ngachi punjurmeba chugu ngani les.
So it's describing that state, as said, from the original purity of the unconditioned nature of pure space, the state of Dharmakaya.
Kencha mangapi nangchul zuku yeshe yonden shinde yenmepi rajindu yenne shubhe tata betso tenne mago par rikpa toke te kechi nila tokpapsu ngoy simba jamba innas.
Which never changes in the three times. The relative appearances of its unobstructed knowingness primordially abide as the nature of the inseparable basis and result of Rupakaya wisdom qualities. So, without needing to make any effort, wisdom mind instantly manifests. If one recognizes or is instantly aware of it,
Gurumbache kita karsa verde. Gurumbache rangi rikpale loksuma jirwa shambate tetewo ta chambayi na sukesare.
So this seems to be teaching that, again, like we were saying before, that when one is practicing and reciting the 7-line prayer, that one needs to understand that that there's no Guru Rinpoche apart from one's own Rigpa awareness, one's nature of mind.
Tena tinde ngoshambayi na teni tekpa tumongo loktar korbe dungaji judan jiuso ngunne yopa tata beso chembe tapar cheba tawo mayi beso chembe tapar cheba tawo mimbar rangsang so takpa perna tuntun namki gyansu tingne sengudan chiru mutik laso perindang dan tawa nuru tseme pa nyete uyu dungadu cheba dan rawara sipa dan shibi pende malebin jungnete.
So if one recognizes or is instantly aware of that, in the way that lightning strikes, all the cause and result of the suffering of samsara that exist from the past are purified by themselves, unlike purifying with great effort as in the tradition of the common vehicles. Like the example of merchants who discovered countless priceless jewels, including gold, silver, turquoise, rubies, pearls, and others, in the depths of the ocean, freeing them from the suffering of poverty. This realization is the source of all the happiness and benefit of samsara and enlightenment.
Teni jiktengi chepa po alam luam mila sopa sujang macho pa chujugo shesong sos.
uncreated and uncontrived by anyone, including creator gods, nagas, or humans. This is Dharmakaya.
Dendi Maranzogi, she Nilola Yodepi Gurumbache, the Moshine, the Mosheto Terush, Cosata, Moshe, Sora, Moshine, Kalorda, Tindrig Toto, Shaktoba inna, then Yene Sangyava imbadi. Hako yongu yore sungesa. Tene yene sangye wate hako songa yena ta di kaza ta rangjong sangye suyang mache pa rangjong sangye chuyuku dire sungesa.
So if we're able to recognize the Guru Rinpoche of the basis, and having recognized it, abide in it, then we will realize or understand the beginningless Buddha, and that is self-occurring wisdom, Dharmakaya, the actual Buddha.
Chuyinzole tsalwe minye dune tabi chu sangye changchu rangchung long na sal ngardrup simpe tazi drumigu chawa rane gongpa chunye lo mingyur lungi drup la tso michi ye shi pab shi changchuk nyingbe shi rangi ngangle yewa gamepe longsar rikpe tenla maye shi tamche shaba drupi gyunzen yang mingyur kundu chabda ishe nga ku nga su nga tu nga yunde nga chinle nga de tangbi sanji tongma mebe longder lundrupi shendu maso yenne raji yenne rang sanji kunji chuku changchok ja mingyo nyabe tenle yendu me teyang rangju ngandir lun drupi matsul madrup reto lunji sho che sungbi ten ngondu kyarwa la tetsom metos.
From the jewel treasure of the Dharmadhatu, not found by searching, Dharma of beginningless purity, fully enlightened Buddha is apparent in the self-occurring expanse, accomplished from the beginning, now, and not needing to be accomplished later. Self-abiding greatness of wisdom in the expanse of Dharmata is naturally accomplished, so there is no effort to achieve. The basis of the beginning, the basis of continuity, and the basis of the essence of enlightenment are not wavering from the natural state, so do not move from the view of the clear expanse of awareness. The reason this is accomplished is that everything is left, never changing, but at the same time unobstructedly manifesting, the holder of the pervasiveness of the five wisdoms. The five aspects of body, the five aspects of speech, the five aspects of wisdom mind, the five aspects of qualities, and the five aspects of activities are the primordial Buddhas, self-accomplished in this beginningless and endless pervasiveness. So this does not need to be found from somewhere else. Its nature is accomplished from the beginning. All Buddhas are enlightened Dharmakaya. There is nothing other than unchangeable evenness. Even that is accomplished in this nature of self-occurrence. So do not search, do not try to accomplish, do not have expectation or doubt. Just totally leave in freeness. There is no doubt that one will realize these meanings. I think the meaning of all of this is the same as what was above. So again, the meaning of this is the same, that having recognized our own wisdom awareness to be Guru Rinpoche, and by sustaining the mindfulness of that and resting in that as one is reciting and practicing with this 7-line prayer, then by resting in that which is the primordial Buddha from beginningless time, then one can become, there's a phrase of like becoming enlightened again, which is making that, which is actualizing that and realizing that fully. And if we're more interested in simply resting than reciting, then we can recite the 7-line prayer 1, 2, 3 times or more if we like, and then rest afterwards. And it's also okay to continue reciting the 7-line prayer uninterruptedly as we rest in this way. And it's also okay as well to recite a few to start off with as a prayer, and then recite more, resting by sustaining this nature, but continuing to recite. Due to previous habits of karmic energy, when one's mind moves and one is unable to settle in equanimity, thinking, my mind is not settling, and feeling discouraged or tormented, if one is mindful of these words at that time, since this uneven mind comes from the expanse of great equanimity, which is great liberation from the beginning, the conception of not being able to abide in equanimity purifies itself naturally. In the future, there will no longer be a basis for samsaric habits, so it is complete liberation, Yongdrol. The great omniscient Longchenpa said, in evenness, the occurrence of unevenness is arising from evenness space. So what this is talking about is that when we're meditating or resting in the nature that was just described, and there's and one's mind is not able to rest, is not able to abide or settle, and is moving and wavering, then how do we practice with that?
jo chuam then solve do it says yang ne chik rang la chik chik ma chi ba do chik sro ta bu chik do in na yang do kap su ho su sir.
And here it says, my mind is not settling and feeling discouraged or tormented. So when this happens and when we think like that, we may feel discouraged, or we may feel tormented, or our mind may become unhappy and upset. So what do we do at that time? So this is when we're meditating and thoughts are just coming continuously with one after another without any interruption, just continuing to stream forth. And we may have a sense of this being very full of suffering. So if one is mindful of that, so whenever those kinds of thoughts and feelings occur of feeling discouraged or tormented and having one's mind waver and move and being frustrated by all of that, those thoughts themselves need to be recognized with mindfulness. Because here we, as was described earlier, meditating on the primordial Buddha, the beginningless Buddha. That's how we meditate in this. But when we're unable to rest in that, what is talked about here happens when all sorts of concepts arise. So what do we do when all of those concepts are arising? If we think that, oh, it's not good, it's not okay for me to have all of these thoughts appearing, and try to stop them, we will not be able to stop them. Instead, if one is mindful, so as soon as a concept arises, whatever it is, that we identify and recognize that arising.
Sem minyamba sharwa teka yene nyamba chembe ingle sharwa ta sem di kasa manene chone dameda sharson de kane sharesena tene yene nyamba chembe ingle sharson de ngazo rikpe ge tsal sharson je la gyar.
So when that occurs, when those concepts have been recognized with mindfulness, At that time, since this uneven mind comes from the expanse of great equanimity, which is great liberation from the beginning. So all of those concepts that occur and radiate forth and make the mind move, what's their source? It's their source is actually stainless space or Dharmadhatu, and they themselves are the unobstructed manifestation of Rigpa.
And Sharchwayna, Sharwati, Moshia Sona, Tagarang talk to Shashagin, then ko Namto Shatol Droshagri Hesore.
So if those arisings are recognized and one rests in that recognition of them, then the arising becomes the simultaneous arising and liberation.
Then they Jongsona Yetol Chimbo Imbe, Ing Sharwa, Yetol Chimbo Imbe, Minyambe Topa Rangsang La Ta, Stine, Korayanda, Nyabarshana Yang, Kasa, Chugi in the Sharsonre, Minyabar Sharson in that, Chugi in the Ricola Sharsonre, the Yinata, the Ne Rangsang La Tas, Kandrashana Yang, the Insons.
So it comes from the expanse of great equanimity, which is great liberation from the beginning. The conception of not being able to abide in equanimity purifies itself naturally. So at that point, when one rests in that way, if concepts arise, one is still resting in Dharmadhatu, and if nothing is arising, one is also, Rigpa is also resting within Dharmadhatu, and that's why that all purifies itself naturally.
Then Tembe Simba in the Rangsana song ne, that Karchakasana, Linche Sipi Pachaki, Tenshi Michepe, Yongro in the Esor, Tanamto Toati, Moshiawina, Ani Moshieto Takarang, La Shashagi in the Tene, Tigita, Pachaki, Tenching Maresor, Sipi Pachaki, Tenching Maresor.
So if one recognizes the arising of thoughts and rests in that recognition, then it says, in the future there will no longer be a basis for samsaric habits, so it is complete liberation, Yongdro. So with that recognition and resting within it, then whatever arises, it no longer will act as a support for samsaric habit. There will be no support for that whatsoever.
Yes. The condition, the condition of Nashi, the motion, Sharva motion, Nana Nepa motion, and repairs she bus.
And this is like what was said before, that that which recognizes abiding and not abiding and moving and not moving is itself Rigpa.
Rigna, the Karchakarsana. Marik Paganazota, Korvitava Marikpare, Marikpaki, Nyabuchasor.
And Marikpa, ignorance, the lack of Rigpa, is the source of samsara, but its opposite, its antidote is Rigpa.
Rigna, tak Yonden Karayoris and Denaswanashi, then Sibipachaki, Temiche sor.
So if one is aware, if one recognizes all of this, then what's its benefit? It's that there will no longer be a basis for samsaric habits.
Nature Pachigdan, Suzuki Chigla, Namto Sharavala, the Kepper May, Sore, Chikpa Sharyongazer, Nature Palaya, Namto Shargare, Suzuki Mazalaya, Namto Shargir.
What's the difference between a practitioner and an ordinary person? There's no difference in the way that concepts arise for both of them. Concepts arise for practitioners and concepts arise for ordinary beings in the same way.
Inayang, Nature Paki, Namto Shana, Sharpa, Moshia Dore, Tako Gomkinyamne, or Ratiko karsore nyamne yetsang namdo sharna ko sharma thatu sharba ngoshene denesona shi shatola tangtu gyore.
But for a practitioner, when thoughts arise, they recognize their arising, and therefore it turns into meditation. So because of their practice experience, they recognize the arising of concepts and allow them to be self-liberated. It becomes simultaneous arising and liberation.
Ando sosu jiwogi namdo sharbati ngoma shensantene ta najrpati shatola tangde kaso ta lesa gyamara dena soana ta lesa sagyamaras.
And when a practitioner allows thoughts to arise and be liberated simultaneously, that doesn't accumulate any karma.
Ngarang sosu jiwodo ngoma shamba insang ten tegi marikpa chane ta sibitsawa marikpa chane ten nganzu ta lesa koror chamche yogar.
But for ordinary beings, since they don't recognize the arising of concepts, then that becomes ignorance, which is the seed of samsaric existence, and then they create karma, and following that have to wander in samsara.
Yes. Tiende kaso ta tendeki namdo shana ngoshenpa ta mashenpa nyege parala leso meso ki chebar pe yosor.
So based on there's a enormous difference between recognizing and not recognizing concepts as they arise, because it's the difference between accumulating and not accumulating karma.
Yes. Tejindo satane tejindo kapje tsalung machu para mito pe ngala talwar ne to batawe nyam sharwe tsena ya tela ngoshe chonzi mechewa chugu gomban dima chewa yene nyamba chemba yimba ngoshe na gyudan kenle jungwa sarjung yishe la lomsam mechewa tesum ngachi ponjur chawa kunzang gongbi longdo chola yinde kunchen chemba
Likewise, when one has the experience of seemingly being able to abide peacefully in the state of non-conceptuality, with the channels and energy of one's body undisturbed, without grasping this as real and holding it as supreme, if one recognizes the uncompounded wisdom of Dharmakaya, abiding in great equanimity from the beginningless beginning, one will not become arrogant about this newly occurring wisdom, which comes from root and contributing circumstances, and will be liberated in the expanse of Kuntu Zangpo's wisdom, which is forever unchanging throughout the three times. Omniscient Longchenpa said, "So, whatever arises evenly, it is not arising from anywhere else. It is only arising from the inconceivable state of the beginningless beginning." Thus it is said.
Yes. Tandengananzo collaboration this collaboration kissing ananzo the same nedu nayang tela pemasayang ganang chago maresur.
To make this easy to understand, if the mind is abiding, we shouldn't become overjoyed by that.
Tene chonzi mechevar sonda ngoshin chonzi mechevar tene tatarung dena sona shi chuko gomba dima cheweki chuko gomba dima chewa yene nyamba chengo yimbara ngoshenas oni chuko gomba de yene dima chewa tende ngoshena sarchungi yishela lomsem kiga mares to tende chongan tene kudasangbo longdo trolro gre sumre.
So without holding this as supreme, if one recognizes the uncompounded wisdom of Dharmakaya, abiding in great equanimity from the beginningless beginning, so if one has recognition at that point, it recognizes that uncompounded wisdom of Dharmakaya, one will not become arrogant about this newly occurring wisdom, and one will be liberated in the expanse of Kuntu Zangpo's wisdom mind.
Los tan didi ne ta ranzo ki tumo mayen basa ore yanani zo yanani nyamshak tang rewe ko ne ani tsikting sonda kandes nyamlen cha tang di kor pepase nyingbo diwa chelap chenpo che redos.
So here is the teaching of you can say the uncommon understanding or the meaning of the 7-line prayer, primarily connected with resting in evenness and really synthesized into its essence, the very heart of it, with very great blessings.
Anga tini di dunzo tadu changma sonde ki tsudu inaya re nyamsha ki tsudu inaya re changma la yahu shi ma zik nang, long nang, nyambra sha nang tini pe tende china tsudu sonde nyamle nangi ina tini pe wasi misi tenden tenwa yongsa res.
So whether one practices this as a prayer or through resting in evenness, and whether one is just reading the text or chanting or resting, by connecting with this in such a way, one will certainly be making one's life truly meaningful.
Honest. Ta nyamlen shimba dhamma nang matum na yang dine songa na shi dingi la nyamlen ki shi chalo ina yang dine machokpa da mandrikpa chi zane yosa ma res. Che matum na yang dila kaso tsidun sonde la nyamlen chewa ina ani machokpa da mandrikpa kaya yosa ma res.
And even if one is unable to do a lot of other practices, but simply practices the 7-line prayer, there's nothing wrong or untoward about that.
Tena ngondo tang matu kezo gom matu na yang di chubu ke diksa res.
If you can't do mundro, if you can't do creation and completion, everything is here.
Ditar tsidun sande ki tadi matran diksa re. Tene ta tsidun sande ki nyamlen dan trapa nyamlen nangdang ki di didi jutus re.
So that's a concise explanation of how to practice the 7-line prayer.
Tan dile tis yewa sangwara ta tinde zigo samlani nipar mochikin zesha kyo tine tsidun sande kintawa pe makaro siya shire. Tela sinana yaku yoris.
But if one is thinking one would like to look at a more extensive explanation of how to practice the 7-line prayer, it's good to look at Mipa Rinpoche's commentary, which is called the White Lotus.
Tanga chik beta jiro che shandi tsidin kasa manzo ki ngondo giri yi ki lungji yang koza khashish goyo sunga sa tedinge pugos.
And one thing I forgot is to give the lungs for the longer and shorter mudras, which some people probably need.
Huh? 7-11, okay. Something one song show, but 나서 되는 라마상들레 송이 치브랄라도 쓰던 선대죠. 또담나라 찾아서 치럽가는 치럽가는 지고 우긴다라 쩌서는 은빈에서 랑도네 미다죠. 저거는 코러스 말업듯이 로닝라서 하나는 쩌기자 제야 쩌기자 산나 우긴다라 zam부서 기도르니 최대면서 주사버리고 이송표에 쓰던 디소한테 우긴에게 노장자는 말에서 너무 연전 추가한 거는 배만전에 주서 Kardakana Mamago, she is a down of the Chino, shoots on Gorilla City home, Shewe, and so the Lord. Traki Chimaj, the welcome the Johnson, Hakatola Salasham, Sang Yere Mayenda, the Rasul, the Solan, the Evan, your Mijum, the Sunji, no one general, some of the things in Tudin, he gave, Chinara, was a Ramish. Rami Shenji Dongal Cell, Rami, your station, Nanja, the new Jason, Tina, and then around. And each in Bakrumi. 다니 좀 버치고 미전 좀 탑전디 투기서단 체브라쇼 체브라 지든 체브라 칠라게 도바 지든 선도 힘도 사베 투기 양들도 사와담 런던 시럽 런던 니치 추경 오셔도 체브라쇼 제소 삽상 칸드닝데 게 문제는 Zongju Lamji Dashi, Jawa Jukso, Sati Ramjin Jepin, University of the Telephone, Pandan Lama Sanki Permission, Chivi Gendon Junior Zongju Kuji, Cosa, they knew the two Lama Sadu, wanted to take now some judication in the tower, then on Trobe Ten Shushi, then Salon Yakawa, and the Zongju Kuji, want to Chevron to give trust upon them. Rosevana Tomani Lam de Conal and the Zambracha, the excellent junior of the Chapatunchi was Emishra Jumana Damboni and the Vitina with the Ramazan, those from the Lord Sachi, or not the Rambagis on Lance, was Lama, Sanji Kunji, Danich, and just to be over the Randina Waja, the number of the things of the children, which around the children, doing all the share, Lamalaso, the good Jutta Palamalaso, Lamagaji, Marie was the Lamalaso, the Lamalajo, the Lamalaso, Lamalaso, the new linear doors in your chest, so what that out, what the James around. You don't know the usual general judge and some that requires making of the person didn't think of your Virginia to go ahead. Nibalani, not the more than number you such on 2 minutes of 7 Tambola. The other the judge Millennium in the Nebrakan to any by new to the show the China some of them and draw a mentor Lembashik, Lembashik is on a Koran Doja Koran County, Donga Lamade Tare, Koran Donga is the Chinajan Tarawashija, the mission number of the door Joe number. Thadral Rinpoche Lambar Rinpoche Kenya, but the Vada and Jugo shoot out to get the number to get the Jerusalem. Midas the Josona Junior, the Junior, comes on God on General Junior, and Shavan and not the Chirish to Nibalangale, Tambutra, Jefferson, and Tomachi, Saldavan, the Junior. Every German on the Joy and the Nazis again, several Uzo, the Kabbalah, the Monaco, the Church, yes, you know, the Gazan and the Shadow, Jordan, London, so illegal and the Samanya, Fakonet, and then the Education. Cherubim Jizuna Malademono to Jimmy shares over the Dagajan and Dustin and Dinch goes on close looking just doing Debe. Now than the Chinese teaching against Chinese Java, Kevin Amur, Kajan, the 10 and 10 of Dagan, singing some Savannah Rajim Bajashim, Manjuk Salta Jinbe, Manju Zalda Jinbe. Gomozan zaman just to get into a part of show, Chidam, Chidram, Darzin, Yamjil, Tingi, the Javan and the Kazan, the Chin, the Jedin, Yambrasha, also Bangajan, the Dujo, the Sungam Dinner, Chola Modis, Marzi, the one you change all of the one to the National Jones, and some ginger, tank, the Dum Yaton Amazon, Dojin, the Jurang, and the machine, was one again with the Jumbo, the Jumbo, Pound, the Yamato. Changsam to the Jimbo just in the Yamcha, then on better than some Marvel Ambassador, Surgeon, so Samaya Zada, Yashin, the navigated them, Tarme, the Hit of a Gamodan, meet of Lama going to the treasure on the Kusan, Charge the one she saw the doses of magicians, some of the region delivery the one again, also delivery. Dananas of the Bezar Sato, she wrote some around the Ryan, doses in the cushion now that of the Langashi road, Nang the Turtle. Langajitra also to do the number shopper. Also, Jitra and do the also to do the Jangja, Jongji, also doing the Taparo, nothing in the Ranghia on the south of Duran and never was. She put 20 Sasam and Rebel as well. Channels of some of the dons of those Georgia Jacoba, another and Lepon Jesus. Some also the Junior Bukuda Chimodu, you do now at 7 machines with the body chip. O amount of the magic about the ones in the conscious number, she genius pushing soil. No, there was some la balanga no chilano no one sell the by MO. Ranano the new when Rani Sajaka Mazas and Nazo and Penny for the shoes you don't know. Much of a man of the special some but sugar, so much child in my child, you wrote for nurses and over the Yetamaji Javaranga, so I have lost about the Jumoja. Jisunama Junior Mazanga, someone thus a share Chino source of another. Mojana would do, you know, with the Donald Lamotion, Jason. Then I don't get the original that several Matini, Javin, the Chisu was some Chisu, and then you're going to encouraging of him. Tajari, you're going to give us one of the watching on a good. Dall'logica del giorno nesero, andiamo con un mutegno come lo non chiedo Dane zerato mun mo rene ko zo nyam da so nyina nyina de no de chimo jang wan chele jo so no jino jesu jino jo lo na jino jigo de no ko jino mo jino mo de so so jo shin se che so no joli no do shin jo de jimo je so ne no jino de da de na mun so ahon karma tin so e bore so ba te shin je wa tham ji de no da je won de lo jaz ti le ku da yin so Rana de Mangoro Torosam, Gavs Chin, J, Santa Porano, Jason, Data, Janga, and Single Rando, so the she and Oman Bezango, we must know his song, and would reach one season, original, was a Lamejo, Rangajo, and you were on the Rangan was another source. Logo to one of the Ranging at the Maitile, don't do it with the Lion of the Modern Dimia Ranging, the Rio Sans on your when you go back out, you lose a wash, you want than then, none, you be to the water. Lariam Mogan, the Gojon, when you're American, the chess on Tomato, was around you made the croissant. Londe was a Rodoni Michilu Gilama Sugar, and Chilis Yamadina Sawa Ledger. You saw the Treme Tengilama do what Jetuna downs on Lion and Langa. Lame Samasum Lamdo, separate la Balanza, Lamadagation, Garajan, Paldelemana Wakis and General Lamajan on the Sarah wondered that the general got anything. You didn't get to trash, yes, so she moment she saw Tanzanam such as the Chisan La Lazagin, Chulam Soto now. Tamala Ranga, what is on Langa here on the young pneumonia, so sure Rangi. Ying the month of the number of the day which you call Sem de Boss, Namdoj in the Parmajon, Cartesen and Troka Janjan, some shake a trojet that was surging on Lante or Niji or Southern Milam Sabajun, Larry and Toran, there was a Lama Chivu, Lagun, and the Nina was in Jivu Jan Chivu to suppose or say, said the Yamajon, a poet show in the zone upon the children of the Jesuit temperature, the number of the Tame, the number of the Lotan numbers and the one chin so and Yam 2020, but the Chava Yamling soft zone de temperature in the Jesu Yam Temegorong the morning. Renzin number Jim interest to Japan. Kuzani hit the Messan report running ever now. Can he see him also? Changchu to Sinabos, the legend of the Bema Chamber of the Chetas, the Nargo Jim South Lion, the Yasa Koyo Ladies, the two machine, Lamdre Juretan was a general, and I was a general, social on the his general would open so much into Naji, what Taxan singles on the Dian Savanis, Jesse Lama, Jesse Sojilam, Yoga, and Salamanga Lam. Then jump there's a wondering and then do you the wondering and then do Da Jimin Lama Demasana Lama Diga the Lama Union Rambo, the Major Ring them a ditching children, young Yandro True Koremus and Jira Tambo Jodana Rajan, Tambo Javalodo Namjing and Dune, Namulimutin. Kamzum Goro Dunga Jazunga Jena the Rajan Jela Majela Lojang, Nipangondo Longola, Tambo Chaps and Don, Dinin what you to the Jazanjo Lamago Joda Jada and Javana, Nipa Sim Javan Jena was in Tanazo Majas. Sumbaza Mendavan Menda Subungus person, Sarah Queen, number, she has a matter of Java. Chula Mandagula Zima Division Jura, the Zibajan Division, big bad as you get home because some Maya son, the Southern here you to see the another Roger shadows on another number. No, but you know, the American in the General the Japanese to some General Oman Besson, or Chet Jalan Saman, the Lacusun to Georgia, and the Besson with the chaos, and she was in the Lama. The Tonjana Majella was the Yambraja, drove on was a number of the Shell Lama, the Malaysian Tanzania, Shetrasang and then Jam Michach and Michi, and then the other Jigta Yeshido Josekan and Zalan Rogers, Mirat, Chewa and Janet, Sidiras to Anasa. Then take that one draw. Long down job, put
Alright, so we've finished with the Gundro lungs in the 7-line prayer.
Then, as you tell you, give out the young, or the Malam to the edge of the hour show.
So then let's dedicate whatever merit has arisen through this for the benefit of the teachings and all sentient beings altogether.
Sanam the Tamja Zevani, Tamania, Dana, the Jagana, Bonot, Sebe Soland, or show, Pemeran, so watching a Daniel Bashing that can get something them by City Barman, Shetan Drivens and Jurchi, can look Chesum, Jamluch, and Zamlings, Assum. Mandaratism Gale show. Oh, that's